Hello everyone, thanks a lot for being here tonight again. Thank you for being part of Product Stories once again here at Qonto. My name is Bruno, I'm a lead product manager here at Qonto and I'll be honored to be your host tonight. Tonight we'll talk about a pretty hot topic in the industry, continuous discovery, and we'll see how we can use this precious tool, if not secret weapon, all along the product flow. We are incredibly lucky to have one of the top experts in the industry to discuss about it. Please make a bit of noise for Netali, product director at Maze. Please, a bit of cheer for her. How do you feel? All right?
I'm good. It's working.
Thanks. Maybe just for people to get to know you and a bit of your product, Maze, if you have a quick intro, and then we start with the serious thing.
Okay, yeah. Quickly, because then we'll just talk about it a lot. My name is Netali. I am a director of product at Maze. I've been at Maze for the past 2 years, ever since we were 30 people big, and up until today, 120 people. I started my product journey in Paris, moved back to Tel Aviv, where I'm from, and now I'm back here. So juggling the product life between the two countries. And yeah, I'm leading now the product teams and the product research teams at Maze. And I'm excited to talk to you about what we're doing.
Thanks for that. I think we prepared a few things for us to kickstart the discussion tonight.
Sure, yes.
The floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Okay, so yeah, hi everyone. I am gonna talk to you a little bit about continuous discovery. We're gonna try to keep this on. Okay, good. First success. So yeah, talking about continuous product discovery, this is pretty much what we do, what we eat and breathe at Maze, because Maze is a tool for doing product discovery, so it's going to be very meta at times. So feel free to stop me also and kind of ask. So yeah, I'll just kick us off and we can talk about what is continuous product discovery. So to kind of start with definitions, because we're product people and that's what we do, definitions. So what is discovery? It's the part of the work that we do that defines what are we going to do, what problems we're going to solve, how are we going to solve it, and when we talk about continuous discovery, right now there's the traditional definition of continuous discovery is to do this action of discovery, of understanding what we want to solve, how we want to solve it, as a continuous nature of our product development lifecycle. So this is kind of typically as opposed to waterfall, where you would do it before or after, right? So pretty simple terms, and we know that product people are already pretty familiar with continuous discovery. So you do it along the way, you develop, you don't stop, you don't start or pause the work just to do discovery, or before kind of to let your development cycle continue. So this is great, people know it and love it, but the reality is that especially product managers don't get to do this as much as they would like, and that's kind of what we're trying to get to today. The common blockers that we're seeing in the industry, again, we're a tool that builds for continuous discovery, so we are at fault to some of these blockers, but we're also trying to solve them, are these kind of 4 ones that are summarized here. So the first one, the common blocker that holds teams back from doing continuous discovery along the way to kind of bring in insight from customers into decision making along the way, not only before or after, is that we rely on kind of centralized research teams. So we would have a researcher in-house, but then these researchers typically are doing big strategic projects and they don't have the bandwidth to support continuously the day-to-day decision-making that every product team needs to have. So everything from scoping to what an MVP would have to be, what it has to include, what features, are these features usable? Will people actually want them? Will they pay for them? And then when they're in production, are they actually being adopted? So kind of relying on researchers to do this is typically something that holds teams back because researchers don't have the time to support every product team. The second one we see is that the methods for continuous discovery most product teams rely on is user interviews, which is very costly in time, in money, incentivizing and targeting and finding these people, scheduling with them. Then you get a lot of really cool notes that are very nuanced and very granular, but you need to synthesize this, you need to analyze this, you need to write it in 2 sentences. And now with GPT, obviously it's easier. But it takes time still, and you need to go through the motion to really kind of have an understanding of what is it that GPT is going to present afterwards, and you need to stay behind it. So relying on interviews as the single or most kind of common method is typically holding teams back because they're like, big sigh, I can't do all these interviews to validate everything I want to validate or to inform every decision that I want to inform. We have, of course, the common customer success or sales team that often kind of break us from customers, and they're protecting the communication, they're protecting the relationship. So there's kind of a silo between product teams, especially product managers, and those precious customers that hold all the information for us. So it's for all the right reasons keeping us apart. And there are today a lot of great tools, but also kind of the real workflow of how to work with these tools that help us get these insights, synthesize them, collect them, turn qual information into quant, are very experts, and we're not all statisticians, and we cannot all be experts at research. So kind of having to become expert at an expert level to use these kind of specialized tools is also holding some of us back to say, okay, I need to do this piece of discovery to inform this decision, but I'm not familiar with all of these lookup tables. I know I am. I am not. So we are holding back. So what we're doing at Maze is to kind of get ahead or overcome these challenges or common blockers for applying continuous discovery. Anyways, for us is to turn it on its head. So instead of thinking of a development cycle, we're thinking of a discovery product life cycle. So basically, we split the work into use cases. So we start with an opportunity assessment, then a problem shaping. So that's really for us to understand what is it, the problem that we want to kind of solve, what do we want to tackle, should we do it, is it viable for the business? So typically here, when it's very broad, very wide, we don't know a lot. We talk to customers, we do these interviews, we get an understanding of how they speak about things. We also talk to our go-to-market teams, we look into the data. We really try to kind of put some shape on this world, on this space. Once we have a good understanding, we go into the solution design. And that's really when, depending on the confidence we want to have, depending on the innovation level this new solution will have, depending on how many competitors exist in the market, depending on, again, confidence that we have, we say, okay, then we need these type of learnings, we'll apply these methods. Often it will be a lot of unmoderated methods so that we can really, at scale, quantify our confidence in the actual solution. And if we don't know, then we do talk to customers. If it's very innovative, we do talk to customers and we see their kind of emotional reaction to some stimuli. But I guess in a nutshell, it's really about, there are a ton of methods, not only user interviews, and we try to really apply those at every point of the discovery lifecycle to inform the next step. So it's really about building conviction. Then, of course, we deploy, and the last piece for us is what we call impact assessment. And of course, this is all, like, there are 100 ways to slice and dice this product life cycle. There are the diamonds and all of these things. That's how we do it at Maze. So for us, the impact assessment means that we deployed the product or the feature or the solution, and then we really try to understand how in the real life environment it's helping our customers, it's delivering on the promise. We validated it. Is it actually what we thought we validated? So really how it operates in the real world. The second thing that we do at Maze to kind of overcome the blockers for continuous discovery is we build the product that helps us do it. So as I said, Maze is a tool that helps product teams do continuous discovery. What we hope to really try and get is that it's tailor-made for people who do research, not researchers or experts. Of course, researchers are good friends, but the goal is really not to make it an expert tool. It's a tool for everybody to just start and do and start collecting insight from customers and make it easy to share it with stakeholders, extended or close, and get back to it when you need it. So we're building what we need. The last thing we released was what we call the Live Suite, and that's really the last piece that was missing for us back then. Today, of course, there are 100 more. But yeah, the Live Suite, so the features that help us now test in production when the product is live. So 2 features that we released was the live website testing that help us test the usability of a new solution, not in a prototype shape, but actually in the real web, where you have all the navigation menus and all the banners and all the pop-ups, where the world is not as easy for users to kind of maneuver around. And the last one was the in-product prompts, where we kind of show you a question in a very specific flow, very targeted segment of people, and we get kind of a score on your experience, and we're able to kind of trigger you in a very contextual way and get feedback in a very contextual way. So that allows us to kind of have an assessment of the impact we were able to generate. And yeah, that's in a nutshell what we at Maze call continuous discovery and how we do it. And yeah, that's it.
Thanks a lot. I think we'll start with quite a meta question because you're a meta product for meta discovery. What led you to prioritize building this feature into the Maze experience? Was it continuous discovery that led you to build a continuous discovery product?
So yeah, we at Maze kind of understand that we need to have a conversation with our customers in order to make the right decisions, to build the things that would actually be adopted. We have, our mission and our vision, which is to connect the product teams with their customers, to make sure that the products in the end make sense and kind of drive innovation and creativity in the world. But then to go back and make decisions on the granular stuff, we need to understand that it would resonate with our customers, that it's an important problem to solve and that we're solving it in the right way. So we're constantly thinking, is it the right problem? Did we understand it well? The solution will tell us. So we have to constantly ask the questions, and of course, the day their solution resonates well is the day where the customers will want more of the solution. So it never really stops.
Yeah, it never stops, and we'll see that right after. If we go a bit further in the experience to release date, now I think it's been around for a few weeks or even months. What insight did you collect it so far? What did you learn? And I think we are the second step of your double cycle.
Yeah. So we released it in February, and so the live website testing feature was one of the most requested features ever at Maze. We built it and we released it, and obviously we released the first version. And it's a cool thing, but it's also kind of, it's frustrating for a product manager, but it's also the fun of being a product. So basically we released it, people love it, but now they want more. So now they want the customizations, and now there needs to be the advanced use cases, and now there needs to be kind of more granular kind of use cases and scenarios. So it's been well adopted, and now the appetite is bigger, you know. So that's where it is.
Country, this last question before we actually jump to a broader topic. Bit of sneak peek. What is the one thing you want to solve next? What is the one thing, the next iteration on this?
On this? Or in general?
You can save the world if you want.
I do want to save the world. So the one thing, we talked about it, I think, in a different type of context before, but I'll mention it. So the big thing we're building now at Maze is we're building a user interviews solution, so a moderated testing feature on our platform, and it's going to be released pretty soon. It's been quite a challenge because it was very hard to prioritize it because the way Maze started is to be an unmoderated testing platform. We saw how a lot of product teams, product managers, I know I did, just didn't touch unmoderated, really wanted to talk to people. It's the easiest thing to do. You know how to talk, you know how to understand, and it's just like you get in whatever it is, you're gonna get insights. So people just turn to it. And for us at Maze, we knew that there is an untapped potential with unmoderated testing. So you get it at scale, and you can really kind of collect a ton of feedback and really kind of quantify it and get very specific and almost scientific about how you prove your decisions. But in every conversation we had with our customers, we saw that user interviews is the most common tool, and so we had to meet our customers where they are, and that's what made us prioritize it, and that's the big thing we're solving now.
Thanks a lot. Let's go to a bit broader topic. Let Maggie discuss a bit less about Maze and a bit more about continuous discovery in general. You discussed about the common blockers, the pitfall about continuous discovery, but for especially people in the room, if you were to start continuous discovery tomorrow, fresh out of the blue, what will be your top advices? What will be the few things to absolutely do?
So I would say do it yourself. Don't wait for an expert, and don't look for an expert tool. You really just need to have a conversation, not wait too long before you have a conversation with a customer. Done is better than perfect. It's cliche, but it's true. Just when I talk to my PMs and I see they really want to get it really well done and really perfect, I'm like, just show them something, see the reaction. Just see the reaction. It's gonna teach you if you're at the ballpark in general. And I will also say that we are building this moderated solution, and the easiest thing is to talk to users, but it's not the cheapest thing to talk to users. So send a question over, send a survey over, and you're gonna get a response, and you're gonna learn from it. Even if the question you're gonna ask is gonna get you the wrong type of information, something you didn't get the answer to the question, you're gonna learn about how to ask it differently. So I guess I'll start with saying there are other ways to talk to customers other than just interviews or moderated sessions. And yeah, you don't need middle people in the process. You can really just do it yourself. You find somebody that asked for something. You find a champion. Then you reach out and you talk to them.
Yeah, I think it's really important what you're saying, and we've seen it here at Qonto too. The more you grow up, the more your organization grow up, the more excuses you're gonna have not to discuss with customers, not to talk with them, not to directly call them. And actually, I have people in the room that have been in the situation a few months ago, if not weeks. The company is growing, yes. So we have people, sales team, and everyone who says, "No, don't discuss with the customer. It's too dangerous." And the answer is, let's get in the room, you and I. Let's take the numbers from the customers in the database, and let's call them. And we're gonna do it, and we're gonna learn. And you can do it at any stage. So that's really a good one. Do it yourself.
Yeah, we are now. And I will also say customers really appreciate it. Customers love giving feedback.
I've never seen a customer saying, "Oh no, product manager discussed with me. I'm gonna cancel my subscription." No, they love it. That's really a misconception. That's about it. Now we're gonna go back a bit to prioritization and roadmap. That's something actually that we've learned to learn here at Qonto, to do at Qonto in the past month. Would you, and what role would you say the continuous discovery plays in roadmap definition? At the stage of just exploring a few ideas and trying to prioritize things, what is the role of continuous discovery there?
Yeah, so for us, continuous discovery is everything. Is not just having interviews here and there, but I would say what's important for us for continuous discovery and how it informs road mapping is to keep on getting the feedback rolling in and flowing in. So mainly we have our customer success and sales teams that are in the first line, the first front with customers. They get that raw feedback, they funnel it in. And for us, we built this automation process where we have every PM or designer has a conversation with a customer once a week. And not about any topic, it's a way for us to kind of see that we don't have too many blind spots. So typically it's something that we would invite a customer to say, hey, jump on a 30 minutes conversation with us, not too much time for us, not too much time for you. And you get to share what you care about. And you learn things that you didn't plan to learn. So for us, this part is really about building intuition into what our customers care about and what they want and what is behind the feature requests. And then twice a year, we do a big research projects about kind of the more innovative work that we're gonna try to do. So what led up to us building the moderated solution was a really big, completely other research and strategic project that we did that just kind of put the spotlight on, hey, this is where the focus of your customers is, and this is something that we knew then we need to cater for in the roadmap. So I would say, to kind of sum up what I just blabbed about, is build an intuition on the go to then be able to make some decisions with conviction. And then the other one is when there's something completely new and innovative, there's a good way to kind of run a strategic research around it to validate that you're in the right direction. And these two things for us allow us to build the next 6 months of a roadmap for us.
Wow, that's really interesting, and I really like what you're saying here because, and it goes a bit against the trade and against the market, and we discussed a bit about that before, but what we have in common is we do not rely on any pseudo-scientific method to build a roadmap. I know that sometimes people are really mad at me when I say it, but I hate rice. I don't do it because an algorithm will never tell you what to build, right? So the best key to actually deliver something valuable is to listen to your customer and never stop doing that. And we have the kind of same role in the team. If you're a product person, you should discuss with at least one customer per week. It's your duty. So.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it becomes a kind of like the Twitter thought leadership of, hey, you have to talk to customers at least once a week, and it becomes intimidating and it becomes impossible. So once a month is also okay. And, again, not having to have the one-on-one conversation is also okay. And it's also a way to get feedback. But yeah, we also don't believe in ice or rice or, it's not as scientific, and I think there's a lot of intuition, and the way to build that intuition is through these conversations with customers.
Yeah, you need to unearth your intuition. Exactly. If we fast forward a bit, and now it's done, you have the roadmap, you know what you want to build, and you're in the middle of the discovery for one feature. I have one thing that I still struggle with, and I can see a lot of teams struggling with it, is how do you scope your research? But especially then, when do you stop? Because you said it can never end. So when are you satisfied? When do you say, okay, now I know that I have what I need, let's build? What would be your advice on that?
You will never be satisfied. But I think for us, yeah, like I said earlier, it's really about how much confidence you have and how much confidence you need. Sometimes you don't need to have 100% confidence or 80% confidence. Sometimes you know that you're introducing innovation and you know it's gonna, you're gonna have to iterate. You know that you're gonna start somewhere to start just getting the reactions, and you can't know more. Sometimes you just need to know, you cannot know more. And sometimes you can also understand, I mean, there's also the reality of the business. So that's also like, how much confidence do you need? And what's the cost, right? So you can be 100% sure, but it can be too late. If you're gonna do the 6 months research and you're gonna know for sure after 6 months, you might be late to the game. There are other competitors. The market is very dynamic. So how much do you really need to know? How much confidence do you really need to have? By what time? Is very kind of, again, intuitive question. There is no black and white here, and yeah, it's really the question of what do you need to learn? Can you learn it now? Can you learn it later? What's the risk of learning it later? That's guiding us, and I would say it's really case by case.
Yeah, it's a trade-off, right? Between the cost, how long do you have, and the risk you're willing to take. So. I
can share an example. So, for example, at Maze we built our card sorting solution. Don't know if you know what card sorting is.
I don't.
Okay. So it's a research method where basically you show customers cards, so think of sticky notes, and you ask them to categorize cards together. Typically it's a way to uncover the mental model. So you show them, imagine a lot of foods and vegetables and fruit, and you want to see if they combine it by meal or if they combine it by type of substance, or if they combine it by vegetarian, vegan, So if you're building a restaurant website, you will know how your customers will think about it, and you will categorize it accordingly. Okay, never mind. Good example. So that's card sorting, and it's very simple to do. It really tells you how your customers or users are thinking about what you're going to show them. So we had our users do it to kind of batch together notifications. So what users associate together, how they would search for something in the menu. Card sorting. The market is full of card sorting tools. It's not new. It's been done before the Miro days, and there's a ton of, and we knew that this is a typical unmoderated testing feature we could offer our customers to complete, the value proposition of Maze. And we told ourselves, okay, like we can invest a lot of time researching. We will know what there is. We will know what they need, and we can be done with it probably at V1, because it's such an existing market. It's not a market where there's innovation anymore for a few years, and that's what we did. So we invested time in really getting the first version really, really well. There are a few features we cut out just to make it in time, and we're like, okay, maybe people will ask for this. If they ask, we can do it. If they don't, then we didn't spend another month on it. But on the other way around, for us with the moderated solution, the market is also saturated with solutions, but we do not believe the right solution for PMs and designers is out there for moderated, and we're going to be very experimental with it. And we took an angle on where we think the pain is the most important, and we're going to go into a beta, and we're going to go really test the beta, and we're going to get feedback, and based on that, we're going to continue and give it shape. So it really depends on what your business cares about at that time.
I think the answer is there is no answer, right? Thanks a lot. Last one on discovery, and actually it will build a bridge with the more solutioning phase. We hear a lot these days the trend about everyone should participate, share the knowledge with the whole team, put everyone in discovery, which in a sense is true. I will wait a bit for the buts. And first question is, who do you put in the discovery? Who in the team do you share it with? Who does what? What is your belief in teamwork when it comes to continuous discovery?
Yeah, so as we talked about it earlier, I think in an ideal world, you have your engineer and you have your designer and you have your support person and your success person, and the marketing person is also interested, and they can all participate in the research.
And unicorns and all this, right?
Yes. The reality is engineers are very busy building the things you already told them to build a while ago. And yeah, they don't have the time. Then they don't need to switch the focus. So typically for us, the designer and the PM are leading the discovery and the research. They can consult with the researcher if they have questions about how to shape the outline or the survey, etc., or the operational stuff. But they are the ones who are running it. There's somebody that's leading, somebody that's note-taking. They switch, and then they share a snapshot in the public channel so everybody can consume it. I think our engineers are the best engineers, and they don't always consume it, no matter if GPT reduced it to one sentence, and we kind of clipped it out. But in the end of the day, yeah, they do trust product to lead, and when they go into the conversations about scope, they can challenge some questions, and then PMs and designers will have these kind of proof and evidence to speak about the decisions they made, and that's when they would go mostly into the process.
Yeah, I think it's actually we are in the middle of this kind of discussion here at Qonto. At some point, we decided that we'd do the research on our side, so product manager, designer, PMM, but arrive at the next phase with the developers with a white page, with a totally white page where we'll draw everything together and we'll do the solution together. And in the end, as surprising as it can look, as it can sound, it doesn't work because everyone has an expertise, and the developers in the room, at first, they really liked it, but after the second time, they were just bored with it, because what they like is to actually craft code, to actually solve engineering big problems, not during a design and discussing about the design for hours. This is not what they like. So actually, I think at the core of teamwork, you have expertise and trust, and maybe sometimes we should just try to respect each other's expertise and trust each other a bit more, and it works well.
I think it's also a question of efficiency. So, when you think about talking to customers, if I joined every customer call, I would talk to all the customers. But then somebody will have to do product management, So we have to find a balance. How much do I get from sales as a proxy? How much do I talk to customers myself? Similarly, the engineers, how much do they talk to customers? How much they participate? What we do is we do have a lot of customers calls. So the PMs are very solicited by, now Success and CS, they call us on every customer call because we come and we hear, and we also share kind of the more visionary part of the work, and we are able to consult. And so, that's where we do bring our engineer counterparts often, and they get to talk to the customers, and they're there typically for answering the more technical questions. But they too develop their intuition on kind of the product sense, and they bring that into kind of the negotiations we have as a team afterwards.
Cool, thanks a lot. We have many topics and questions to uncover, but I'm sure you also have a lot, so I'll keep time for you. So maybe one or two last. Let's fast forward to delivery and actually solutioning. Do you do any kind of mock-up validation with your customer, or do you actually validate the value you discovered? Do you go with design? Do you ask your customers to give opinion on design, or do you always use Maze, which will not be surprised?
We do, and we use Maze also to get feedback on designs. So I think what you refer to is what we typically call concept testing. Yeah. So the way we do it is we separate the problem from the solution. So we prioritize the problem. We call it opportunity, if you know the opportunity solution tree. Prioritize opportunity. Then you have solution mapping. So there are multiple ways to solve a certain problem. we would mock this out, and we will show this to customers to see how this resonates. Sometimes we will just butcher it ourselves internally before, and we would stress test it, and we would ask ourselves some tough questions on the concept, and see how it would last and how it would complement the entire system. But yeah, we definitely show the sketch, like the very low fidelity. We also show the very high fidelity. So for example, now we're developing really the next batch of the vision of Maze, and we want to see if this resonates with customers. We really cannot show something, sketchy. We need to kind of sell the vision. We want to see if really the ideal world resonates, and then we know we can reverse engineer, and we scope it, and we get there incrementally. But when we talk about the value proposition, that's where we also go to town and gonna do the guardians on all of the fancy menus, and yeah, we do that too.
Thanks a lot. That was my last question, but I'm pretty sure you have a lot. So now it's time for Prasad, a little guy who should be around. He's right there. You have a mic?
No, I think I have to
take mine.
We share one.
And Prasad will go over you. So who has a question for Netali? If no one has one, I will just have pizzas and beers.
Don't be shy.
Ah, finally, the savior. Thanks so much. It was really embarrassing.
I have a question regarding product discovery in B2B context. Generally, B2B, we work with customer for a long time. It could be years, sometimes decades in case of my company where I work for. The company, the product, our customer are using for 20, 30 years, like that. And there we have very deep engagement with the customer. They worked starting from the product development and also incremental changes, a lot of things we retrofitted or incorporated later. In such case, especially sales in such organization has very strong voice. And many company in B2B space are product discovery is driven by sales. And we product managers have very little voice to register them. And whenever we discuss about product discovery, we discuss about designers, we discuss about product manager. How about dealing with the strong sales voice? And they do believe that that's the customer voice. Thank you.
Sure.
No, stop. Up to you. Okay. Obviously, you are discussing about the specific case that we need not cover because we both are on B2B enterprises, but on mass market, right? We have, I don't know for you, and I won't disclose anything, but we have at least thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of customers. Your case is you are at the enterprise level, so you have customers. First of all, congrats, you have no churn issue, visibly. Second one is you are a sales-oriented company. You cannot do it another way. The sales are the poor people in the room. What I would do and what I did in the past is, and it's not always easy, but you have to be the sales best friend then. You have to literally be the pal with them. You have to go to the sales appointment. You have to sell the product with him, and this is what you're going to learn. Not that long ago, actually, I even hired at Qonto a year ago, before COVID, or maybe two. I'm getting so old. Maybe 2 years ago, I was actually going to not every, but at least twice a week, sales appointment with the director of sales. So we are doing literally physically to the customer offices, and while he was doing his dance, I was collecting feedback, and this is how it worked. So I would say it's pretty lazy as an answer, but be your sales best friend, and try to gather as much knowledge as you can from them, because in this case, indeed, you have two solutions. It's either you take the feedback only from them, but yes, you will not be the product manager you dream to be, or you go on the field with them. You collect it directly, and it will be all right, and you'll have the answer. What you don't want to do and what you will not be able to do anyway will be to do exactly what we said, in your specific case, it will be really hard and maybe not appreciated in your company to directly discuss with the customers. This is the only case where it's much harder. So I will just try to, basically they will believe that you try to bypass them. So in this case, for enterprise companies, I will be the sales best friend. It might involve drinking a bit, but you can do it. Netali, anything to add?
I think it's good advice. I think, yeah, all of them. Maybe what I would add is, I think there are two things that you can do in your position as a PM. So first, if sales are telling you what to do, then like maybe they know, and maybe this is the business, and that's what needs to happen. But your role as a PM is how to do it. So the conversation is not really only on what to do. So if the company has a vision that's led by the sales feedback, that's fine. That's not the devil. So either you need to kind of improve the intuition and the rationale of understanding why is this so important for the business and the customers. That's something that you can interject, like you're suggesting. Then how to do it is a whole other question of what concept and what creativity and what, what's the special sauce you'll bring to that. And the other thing is that a product manager's function is to drive the business with the product. So if you see another business case for another direction, then build your business case and, build the evidence into it with data, with customer feedback, with market insights, and present it. And I'm sure it will be, you can study that as an alternative, or try to kind of better understand or challenge some of the assumptions coming from sales. Of course, it can be difficult, but if we're all there to grow the business, then it's a common interest to get there. So that's what I would recommend.
Thank you.
Thanks to you. Any other question, maybe? And now we'll never stop it. I know the drill.
First of all, thank you both for a great discussion. And the question is, sometimes, even if, and the approach is really near and dear to my heart, but sometimes you discover yourself in a situation where the product discovery failed somehow because you had a bias, or you made an incorrect assumption, or maybe you didn't ask the correct question, etc., etc. So we know how it goes. My question is how you manage that from your personal, and did you have, maybe you didn't have experience though, so it could be the possibility also. Thanks. Yeah, I assume so.
It's a bummer when it happens. So it obviously happens. The way we do research now to try to avoid this from happening is we do a lot of peer reviews. So you know how engineers do the code reviews? Like we do the peer reviews. Does this interview outline make sense? Will we get the learnings that we need? Then when we kind of put together the findings and we make sure, like we kind of develop the understandings of it, we sense check all the time. So that's one way to avoid it. And then when it happens, you land at a position where you still need to make a decision, and the decision remains, am I confident enough to go further with this? If not, kind of what is the risk of building higher confidence with additional discovery? And sometimes the risk is greater to not continue. So it's at that point in time, is it riskier to continue to improve, continue to do research? We had that happen to us last year at Maze. It took us much longer than we thought to kind of get it to a place where we can even just test it. And then we tested it like, so much to iterate on. We cannot release it as is. At a certain point, we just had to, like, the risk of getting to a waterfall where we don't learn enough was greater than failing in production. But that's a decision the business has to make. I said, okay, like if in 6 months we cannot build something that is worth generating learnings with, then we shouldn't do it. Last year we ended up releasing something we didn't have high confidence in, and we got a lot of learnings that told us, yeah, it's not good enough. But we could not have known that as quickly if we didn't really. So it's a painful process of learning, but sometimes you have to. Otherwise, you would have continued to do research on something that's not worth it for yet 6 more months. So you can't live all the lives, but you try to do this risk assessment.
Nothing to add. Okay. Thanks a lot. Maybe another one, and maybe actually a last one before we all get to drink water.
Thank you both. Just a question about organization. So, because you have the delivery of your solution, and in the same time you have the discovery, and sometimes you need time and you need people. So how do you build your organization to be sure that you can do discovery continuously and the same time delivery? Do you have like a parallel sprints? Do you have a specific teams who just do discovery and teams who do delivery, and do time box all your discovery phases to be sure that you can actionate your discovery actually? Thank you.
I can start and you'll take it after. The first thing to answer about your question about do we have a specific team that does discovery and do we have this other people that are doing only delivery is absolutely no. Hell no, God forbid. I'm strongly opposed, maybe a bit too much, to the idea that some people are the brains while others are the hands. A product manager is someone who does it all, someone who can think and build at the same time. So I'm really in strong opposition to, hey, we are people to be the brains and we're people to be the builders. No, you have to do it all. You have to be well-shaped to be a product manager. Now, your question is absolutely valid. When you're always running behind the train, when you're already trying to lead your delivery correctly, when you're trying to do everything you can for the future to reach, to be out there in the end of your customer within the right time frame and everything, or can you also ensure the right discovery? It's hard, but I will say, and at Qonto we've been working on it for the past 4 years now, it's all about building a system that allows it. So I would say the first thing and the first shock that I had when I joined the company 3 years ago was when I discovered that for each, what we call CFT, but for each squad, for each team, there is not 1 PM, but at least 2 PMs. Because actually, the role of the PM, and that's something that Qonto does a lot, and now we can see it in many other companies, is not to only lead the delivery. For this, you do not need a PM. It's not only just to write specs, because writing specs is the easy part of the job. It's to lead the discovery part, right? It's to make sure before you even write the first line of code, the first line of specs, or the first mockup, that you have unrisked the feature by validating the value. And it takes a lot of time. So to make this happening, you need to make sure that in your system, you will have enough people to cover the delivery and the discovery in parallel. So yeah, I would say it's all about making sure that your system allows for time of discovery while the feature that is ongoing is managed by your people. The other part is also, that's something that we've done. 3 years ago, we used to have the dailies, so the usual daily, with the developers, with the whole team, with the whole squad. We stopped that. Because actually, when you do that, something really interesting happens. The only question you ask every morning to the team is, hey, is everything good? Are you late? And the developers will answer, yes, but you know, I can't start my virtual machine. And you'll be like, yeah, good story, bro. You cannot help. You cannot do anything. And that's really not your job. So what we did, and that's something really counterintuitive, to be honest, I was pretty much afraid when we started that, was to break that and to start doing dailies by specialty. So now we have a daily for only product people from the team. and but we are getting kicked out. That's interesting. And now, during the daily, we discussed about that. We discussed about, hey, delivery is managed by the lead dev. They are doing it. Now, during the daily, we're going to discuss about discovery. What do you want to learn today? How can I help you? And that's really where you start crafting your PM skills, why you rely on specialists to do the other part. So we'll rely heavily on the lead dev to do the delivery, while we do everything that is before. Anything to add?
I can share just the tip of what has been working for us really well in the past year. So definitely rely on the lead dev. But so at Maze, for a year, for the first year, we worked with Shape Up. I don't know if you're familiar with the methodology. It is kind of the promised land of discovery and delivery and time boxing, and it's no worries anymore. It will be done on time. It was so hard because what they don't tell you in Shape Up is that they did a ton of discovery to get to that 6-week cycle where they just build, basically, something that has mock-ups already. So when that broke for us, what we did, and we're still doing, and it's working well for us up until now, is we have cycles, still 6 weeks, but we have not dual tracks, we have triple tracks. So the first track is discovery. What are we aiming to learn? What are we aiming to design? What are we aiming to deliver on the discovery front? What are we aiming to deliver on the delivery front? So what's going to be delivered to customers? And we have a maintenance track. So everything that's bugs or just operational cost is going there. And so every 6 weeks, we know where we want to land by the end of the 6 weeks, and we're able to build on that for the next cycle. So 6 weeks typically allows you to get substantial discovery on whatever you need, multiple fronts on discovery. You can kind of plan the phases you want to be in by mid-cycle, but it allows for planning for both delivery and discovery, and then some maintenance stuff. So for us, it was it's still a good balance. It makes us plan in advance where we want to be then in the next cycle, and it's done in parallel. And of course, nobody is ever making timelines as they're written, but you adjust on the go. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Netali, thank you. Thanks a lot for your time tonight. Before we enjoy, I think the few things I can see already there that are the pizzas, we'll be here again on next month. I have no idea of the guest, no of the topic, but I know that we'll be on the exact same stage. So feel free to come again. It's always a pleasure. And please, a bit of noise for Netali and for all our precious advice tonight.